Amari Jefferson, former Alabama receiver. Look at that guy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Congratulations. And you come back home to East Tennessee. I'm curious how that feels.
Man, it feels great. I'm excited to be involved. Just being from Tennessee, growing up in Chattanooga my whole life. I just see all the orange around and just see how much pride and love people have for the Vols. And man, I can't wait to experience it.
So Amari, I don't know if I'm sure you do, but Chattanooga has a very rich history of producing some legendary Vols, not the least of whom was Reggie White. You think you can live up to that?
He's an NFL Hall of Famer. So, if I live up to Reggie White, then I had a pretty good career.
Absolutely. Hey, take me back, because you're getting to the point that football is kind of like a business, and it's more so earlier in your career with NIL, and I might have an NIL opportunity for you, but we'll talk about that later. But Amari, when did you first fall in love with football? Because it can turn into a business. Was there a moment that you recall that you looked at that sport and you're like, that's for me?
I think, man, just my dad coached high school football my whole life growing up. So just as a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, just really as far back as I can remember, being on the sidelines, being at practice during the summer, and just watching like those guys and stuff like that, and really just falling in love with it. Just seeing all the stuff that goes into it, and then definitely just the Friday nights, just being around the atmosphere and stuff like that. There's nothing better than football in the South. So just getting to be around that, especially with my dad, as close as we are, and as much passion as he has for the game, that definitely went over into me. And so I think that's probably just when I started to fall in love with it, just being around him, being around the game, and just being able to be up and personal and close with it.
Hey, Caleb, if you don't care, let me jump in for 1 second.
Fine, yeah.
I wanted to ask you, your dad's a coach. Do you feel like you have maybe an advanced grasp of the game than other people you played with? I'm not asking you to pat yourself on the back, but I would think going home with a guy that knows ball every single night would be an advantage.
Yeah, I think definitely. My dad's been the biggest influence in my life. Just him knowing so much about the game and what it takes to get to the Division I level. Just being a coach, you get to see guys, and from a young age, he kind of instilled in me, like, if you're not scoring touchdowns, then you're not doing anything. So I was younger. It's always, if I'm not scoring, then I'm not doing anything. So for me, my whole mindset is when I get the ball, I'm trying to score, and if I'm not doing that, then I need to switch it up or do something else.
So basically, it's kind of the football equivalent, Amari, of I don't know if you've seen Talladega Nights, but if you ain't first, you're last. Amari, I want to ask you about your player profile a little bit, because obviously you're a wide receiver. Do you see yourself in Tennessee system playing more as a wideout, closer to the sideline, or playing more in the slot on the inside?
I think I can do both, really. I think I showed it in high school, my ability to play both in the slot and on the outside. I think really just whatever gives us an advantage as far as matchups and stuff like that, that we can take advantage of. But I really don't have a preference. I feel like I can play both. I feel like I have different skills that translates to both. So I'm excited to get on the field and kind of just show that.
Amari, what was the year like at Alabama? It wasn't what you signed up for, and I'm sure it was. I'm sure you were jilted a bit when you heard about the coaching change.
Yeah, it was definitely a different experience. Just going into a program that didn't recruit me. That guys I didn't really get to go through the recruiting process with, like the other schools, and then like Coach Saban and his staff. So it was definitely an adjustment, just trying to build relationships that, you kind of build in during the recruiting process that I didn't have a chance to, while also trying to, because football is, when you get there, it's a business. And so just having it being such a business and trying to build relationships and get comfortable with them as they get comfortable with me. It was kind of a difficult year, I'd say, just balancing those things. And then I had to get a hip procedure done. And that's why I kind of, just after a couple weeks into the season, I kind of felt like it was best for me to go ahead and get the surgery done. It was a minor surgery. So, I've already been off crutches and the brace for almost a month now. And so at the beginning of February, I should be good and we're starting running again. So.
Well, and you also got to charge it to Alabama's medical staff. So there you go.
Sure.
Save Tennessee a little bit of money. Go, Caleb.
Amari, could you talk a little bit for not everybody's as familiar with that southern border of Tennessee with the Georgia and Alabama line right there on how even though it's in Tennessee, could you just tell people who may not know just how much of a presence other SEC schools have in that area? You know, from I'm sure Alabama and Georgia both are as much involved as Tennessee in the Chattanooga area, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just with Chattanooga being so close, I mean, Chattanooga's like 3-4 hours away from like 6-7 major programs. I mean, you think Clemson, Alabama, Georgia Tech, Vandy, Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, South Carolina's 5 hours away. I mean, there's 6-7 SEC, ACC programs right there that Chattanooga's 3 to 5 hours from. So, I mean, I think just them being so close and just the presence they have with the SEC branding and ACC branding and stuff like that. I mean, it's definitely a big impact.
Amari, if you can look back over your career and your high school career in particular, because I know things didn't go because of the hip is the way you wanted at Alabama. When you look back, is there a game that you're most proud of your performance that you look back and you're like, I really answered the bell that day?
I think I had a lot of big time games.
Well, I know that, but I was wondering if there's one that stood out.
I think there's a couple. I think really the biggest game for me, I think, was going to Brentwood my junior year for the semifinals. Baylor hadn't beat Brentwood in the playoffs, I don't think, ever in school history. I think it was the farthest Baylor. I mean, making it to the semis was the farthest we had made it in 10 plus years at Baylor. And then I think it was kind of just like my coming out, not really my coming out party because I had some good games before then, but definitely just like a stamp that on the kind of player I was, and that kind of big game on the road in the semifinals against, a George McIntyre led BA team who was really good. Took us down to literally the final inch. So I think that was really I'd say is my most proud game, just being able to go up there on the road and 25-degree weather and perform how I did.
Amari, so let's talk a little bit about your recruitment after hitting the portal recently. Were you looking at other schools, or once you transferred out of Alabama, was it you're going to Tennessee and that's that?
Definitely there wasn't really too much thought about going anywhere else. I kind of knew where I wanted to be, and I definitely wanted to be a Vol from the jump, getting into the portal. It was just if we can make things work. And I'm super blessed that I'm going to be able to get back up there to Knoxville and, be a volunteer and stuff like that. There's definitely some other schools that kind of reached out and stuff like that, but I kind of already told them, I want to be in Knoxville. And so they kind of respected that. So.
Visiting with Tennessee's newest receiver, the show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, Banks & Jones. It is Amari Jefferson. Amari, do you want to play baseball? You're pretty darn good on the diamond as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's been my lifelong dream to play with. It's really going to be about, time and time management and just really seeing like how the rest of my hip, because I got about a month left of rehab. So I definitely wouldn't be ready to go this season. But definitely just seeing how the rest of my hip, like healing and stuff like that goes, which we're on track and going smooth. But definitely, I've already had contact with the baseball coaches. And so I think it'll be something that when I get up there, we'll kind of figure out the scheduling and we can make it work.
So is it safe to say that you would like to, but you're not married to it? Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah, I definitely would love to. Baseball, really baseball is my first love. It's the first sport I ever played. Been playing it since I was 4. So, definitely I want to play both. It's really just about if we can make it work.
Okay, well, what position do you play in baseball? Help me with that.
Center field.
Center field, that's what I thought. Okay, so let me ask you this. Would you rather be an all-star center fielder for a Major League Baseball team, or would you rather be an all-pro receiver in the NFL?
I don't think that's a fair question because Juan Soto just got $700 million. Who doesn't? If I'm an all-star in the MLB and I get $700 million, who doesn't want to do that?
Well, that's fair. $1 billion is $1 billion. And I just want to go ahead and warn you, I have an NIL opportunity for you, but it's not going to be $700 million.
Hey, I'll take it.
You go, Caleb. I love this guy.
Amari, talk a little bit about your familiarity, because you mentioned George McIntyre earlier, with so many guys that are either joining the team or already are on the team. Obviously, you were coming out of Chattanooga the same year Boo Carter was. And how familiar are you with a lot of the guys on Tennessee as you get set to join the team?
Man, I mean, I'm familiar with a lot of guys. Definitely just playing them. Not only, I mean, me and Boo have been playing against each other growing up in Chattanooga since, I mean, we're 6, 7 years old. But definitely guys like Caleb Beasley, Edwin Spillman, Ethan Utley, and then George McIntyre. I mean, I played against all those guys in high school. Don't think I ever lost any of those guys, but but no, definitely. I mean, they're all great players, and I can't wait to get up there and be teammates with them.
Hey,
sorry, Dave. Can I just ask this follow-up question real quick? Who's winning a fight, you or Boo Carter?
A fight?
Here. Yeah.
Oh, this fight?
Yeah, this fight.
Oh no. Hopefully we never get into one, so we never got to figure out. But oh no.
Can he cover you?
Well, I guess we'll see when I get there in practice. I mean, we've had our battles in high school and growing up and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, it's almost about an even match. I mean, going against each other. So,
let me ask you this: what's Boo like? Because Boo to me, maybe kind of likes the attention. And maybe kind of doesn't mind being talked about in the media. How would you describe his personality?
Man, Boo a dog. He been a dog when we were younger. I mean, I can remember like when he played with Harrison and I played with East Hamilton. Then we moved over to another league and he played with the Chiefs. I played with the Bills. Like we were always meeting in the championship and stuff. And it was always like, man, why do I always see this one guy in the championship games and stuff like that? So I mean, I'd really say, man, Boo a dog. He don't back down from anybody. And he's always been that way. And he gonna get what's his, and he gonna work as hard as he possibly can to do that.
So, Amari, what are your thoughts? How familiar are you at this point with Tennessee's offensive schemes and their systems? I mean, I know that Kalen DeBoer and Josh Heupel are both offensive-minded coaches, but I know they run different systems. How familiar are you with what Josh Heupel wants to run and what he's going to kind of expect out of you?
I mean, throughout my high school recruitment, just being able to talk to Coach Hype and Coach Pope and the different guys up there, they definitely like to get it spread out and throw the ball a lot, which is great for being a receiver. So we haven't really had those kind of in-depth conversations yet about what they specifically see from me or what they want from me. But I feel like we're going to have those when I get up there, and, I'm excited to get started.
Let me ask you this, Amari. I know you've got a disappointment to get to, and we're going to get you out of here. But where were you, and what do you remember about when you heard that Nick Saban was retiring after you had already signed with the Alabama Crimson Tide?
Yeah, so I was actually we were in baseball workouts in Baylor, and so we were lifting as a team because I think it was a Wednesday, and so we had team lifts on Wednesday, and I remember my head strength coach. He came over to me and he was like, Nick Saban just retired, and I was like, what? Like, are you sure? Like, my phone, like making sure like it wasn't like no false news or anything, and it turned out to be true. And so I mean that definitely was like a heart sinking moment just after I'd signed and going through the whole recruiting process and stuff like that, putting your trust in Nick Saban. It definitely kind of hurt just because I thought that was going to be the guy coaching me. But I think it worked out for the better. So,
Amari, can you talk a little bit about? I know you obviously everybody has their own reasons for going different places or transferring out, but what to you is the state of Alabama football right now under Kalen DeBoer? I know it's not. You obviously expected to play for Nick Saban. I know you were at Alabama during the transition period. What do you think their long-term prospects are as a program right now, given the change that's happened?
I mean, I think Coach DeBoer is a great coach. I mean, I think he's proven that everywhere he's been. I mean, it's definitely hard to come in and take over such a massive operation like a football program in the SEC. I mean, if you look at different guys, I mean, Kirby, Coach Heupel, I mean, it takes a couple of years to kind of get your players in and kind of, build in your culture and your system and stuff like that. So I mean, I fully expect Alabama to, still be up there with the top. I mean, I don't know if you can say you expect them to be like Nick Saban because he's the greatest of all time. But I definitely do expect them to still be, relevant and good and stuff like that. So.
Well, I'll tell you this, Amari. I know you got to get to the dentist, so I'm gonna let you out of here. Yeah, I would like to get in touch, and maybe we can do some things down the line. I mean this. I've covered thousands of prospects. I used to cover recruiting for ESPN, Knoxville News Sentinel, but you're right up there with one of the most well-spoken, respectful guys that I've ever interviewed, and I just want to thank you for your time. It means a lot. Congratulations on this second opportunity, and welcome back to East Tennessee, my man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's can't wait to be involved, man. We gonna do some things this fall.
Yeah, I think you are, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you.